All right. Welcome back, everybody. This is Corporate Counterculture. And yeah, it's a new year. So we want to talk about things that people do in the new year, resolutions, all the cliche things. We're just going to jump into that because who wouldn't want to talk about that, right? But more specifically, when we look at last year, what are you doing differently, or what did you make changes in the off season or during the holidays that you're going to implement this year particularly? Welcome to the podcast. Welcome back, and we're excited. So Bryan, tell me, man, what's one thing on your 2026?
So right off the bat, something I implemented over our Christmas break in a way was a big time suck out of my life, which was Instagram. And I know you already don't have Instagram, Brian,
Yeah,
but for those of us that were in that hole,
come on.
that was one thing that I finally just said, I'm sick of it. Let me just apply that time elsewhere. And yeah, deleted Instagram and started paying for Kindle Unlimited, and now my big thing is like, okay, I want to at least finish a book a month and go from there. So happy to say I finished my first book. For anybody that has done this, I would recommend it if you haven't done it. And for those that have any book recommendations, I'd love to hear some more stuff, and could be anything. I'm a big kind of self-help, money management, money development, and then now I'm into like fatherhood type of stuff as
Yeah,
I'm prepping for my first kid. So I've got all over different topics loaded up in my Kindle library at the moment, but that was step number one. And I'm happy to report that I've been reading about 30 to 60 minutes a night right before bed. So it helps me a little bit.
dude. I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah, bro.
Congratulations. Welcome to the dark side.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting, but it is one of those little things that, like, you gotta, I've always wanted to like develop a better habit of reading,
Yeah.
and I enjoy it in the moment. I just don't love it all the time. And there's a person that used to always say, introduce more friction between you and the things you don't want to do, and then take away friction between you and the things that you do want to do. So introducing friction in the sense of deleting the app of obviously Instagram and stuff like that. I'm still on Facebook for different reasons, but still on Facebook, which can get a little bit funky,
Yeah.
but nothing else outside of that.
Dude, I love that, man. I always tell people you don't have to be as extreme as me, but if you delete the app and download it every time you want to use it and then delete it when you log off, at least do that.
Yeah.
You'll feel far better than you thought you would, because it's important, man. It's important.
Let
Just a
me
little
ask
break.
you, you
Yeah.
never had it, or you just had it and then like didn't care for it?
No. So I never had it. So you have to. So in reference, let me locate myself. I am a person from Georgia, so I'm naturally like a conspiracy theorist type of guy, right? And Instagram started what, 2009 or something?
Mm-hmm.
2010, maybe
Something like
2008,
that.
something like that.
Yeah.
I was probably 24, 25 or something maybe. So by the time people really started using it, I was almost 30. You know what I mean? And I moved to LA, so I really just didn't need it because I had kind of went to a second act of my life where I was full on in creator land, because at that
Mm.
time, I mean, LA was like, it's always been on top of the world, but you gotta think like the Lakers were winning championships.
Mm-hmm.
It was all the things that people remember Hollywood for. I was
Mm-hmm.
kind of in the thick of that, so I never needed it. And then by the time it got really popular, where everybody had it, it might have been 2012 or 13. By then I had a kid, and
Yeah.
it was just I didn't really get it by that time. So it was like, eh. But I did have Facebook. I had Facebook at some point, because I was in college when that happened. So it was the thing to do.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. But I also got off Facebook because I was also a part of the generation where they were checking your Facebook for jobs. You know what I mean? So
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so it's I was just at a weird time where that was the mindset. They were checking Facebook for jobs, so I got off Facebook and then just never really got on anything else.
That's funny.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
But
but I always feel far better than
Yeah,
other people.
yeah. See, that's a good thing though. That's a really, really good thing. And like, like you're saying, you're already busy enough having kids and stuff like that. So why introduce another time suck into your life?
Yeah, and I'm a person who because I don't consider myself an intellectual. I consider myself more of a C student because that's my grades were always a see you later. That's how I got out of school. Give me a see you later or a be all right.
That's
So
hilarious.
so dude, when I would see other people's Instagram, like when I was around people who were on the platform, dude, your eyes will just do things to you. I can't even go on Redfin without wanting another house or wanting to change
True.
something in the bathroom. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
I could just be checking what the property values are in the area, what's for sale in the area, kind of judging our house, and you'll see somebody with a handle or a bathroom mirror. You're like, dang, that's a nice mirror, bro. We should paint this whole thing. They've got turf back there. We need
Yeah.
turf. What is it? This grass is terrible.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I kid you not, dude. I literally want black ceiling fans now because I saw a house on Reddit. On their patio. They had the exact same patio as us, but they painted the pillars black, and they had black ceiling fans, and they had a projector. And so, guess what I do have now? I do have a projector, but that's how quick.
That's so funny, man. It's the power
That's
of
how
suggestion.
the power of suggestion and your eyes knowing you don't even know what you want until you see
Until you
it,
see
and that's
it.
what's
Yeah.
scary, bro. So
100%.
I get it, man. I
But
don't judge people. I just know myself.
that's the hard thing. That is 100% the hard thing. And I think that, like, in general, it's a self-reflection type of thing, right? Identify the one thing that, like, is holding you back or could be holding you back and see if that's actually the case and put it to the test. But
Yeah.
what's one thing that you're doing different or have done, decided to take a step as you start this new year off?
Dude, so similar to you, I'm going to do the book thing again because it did work for me before, but I'm going to try a different way this time because I used books before to like improve my vocabulary, increase my perspective on how to sell and my depth on what to say and when to say. Now I want to really lean into creativity. I feel like, okay, got through first year at a new gig, a little bit more confident in the things I'm doing. So now I kind of want to trigger creativity again.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to work more. I feel like this is a year where you kind of have to go balls to the wall. I don't know why. That's just kind of how I feel like it, right? And so two things that factor into that is my health. So that's sleeping and eating better. But the hard thing really is the creative side, especially when everything is so semantic driven. When you're doing tech sales and integrations and software and things like that, because the
Yep.
details really matter, right?
Yep.
So in order to trigger the creative side, I'm gonna read. Actually, I'm gonna do audiobooks, but I'm going to do a chapter at a time. I'm gonna, instead of double timing it like I usually do, or do the accelerate the speed to 1 point.
2x speed.
Yeah. I'm gonna slow it down to about 0.75,
Okay.
and I'm going to kind of stew over a chapter a week.
Gotcha.
And I'm just gonna read it, and then I'm gonna ask ChatGPT actually or Gemini, like, hey, I read this first chapter. How can I use this in my life creatively? How does it apply to somebody who's in sales? What thoughts? What should I be thinking? I'm just gonna like try that and see where it leads me. I'm gonna try to stew on that every week and try to make some type of gain from that because I kind of really think the creativity has to level up this year in order to execute better.
So instead of trying to ingest as much information as possible, you're actually doing the complete opposite, flipping it on its head of like, let me not just take in a ton of information and use maybe 10% of it. Let me use as close to 100% of what I do actually take in.
Yeah. So I'm really trying to do left-handed stuff now, like just complete opposite of what I've done for the 40 plus years of my life. Even now, I just started using machines in the gym. So now I'm like starting with machines, and I'm actually using the Stairmaster instead of running. Because for me, old school, if you don't run,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like you really did cardio. So now I'm
Right.
like, oh, okay. I always see the science and statistics from low intensity, whatever. But I'm like, that doesn't even sound right if you're not like out of breath running on the
Out of
treadmill.
breath, yeah.
But I'm just gonna try everything that I've known but never implemented. So I'm just gonna slow down and like look at everything from these different perspectives that I've never paid attention to.
That's a good way to go about it. Cause like it's too easy to do what I'm trying to do of like, let me take in as much information as possible, potentially come back to it, but more than likely forget about at least 70% of it. You know what I mean? Kind of in one year out the other type of thing. But now you're saying like, okay, you're actually trying to in the moment implement what you just learned so that it kind of sticks a little bit better. I mean, you mentioned that you weren't that studious, but that's really what the best students do. You know, my wife is super studious when she was in school, and she was one of those people of like, okay, I read a chapter of a textbook, I directly applied it, I went back, double checked that my reasoning was on point, and like now I remember that, like I actually learned it. Whereas a lot of people are just in it to memorize and move on to the next thing. So
Yeah, no, for sure.
a little bit of a
For
different
sure, for
approach,
sure.
but it makes total sense. You know what I mean? It makes complete total
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anything else that you are doing for your 2026 in the sense of like, you know, you didn't do in 2025?
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to. Oh man, this is like weird to say, but I think I'm going to take a different approach to cold calling. I think I'm going to physically go out a lot more. So the numbers
Yeah.
may be less, but
Same.
I'm just gonna go back to face, man. I feel like the more I see on LinkedIn people trying to automate stuff, I just imagine how many inboxes are flooded. I think I'm just going to take less at bats with that, and less at bats with the phone, and just try to knock on some doors and talk to people and see what happens. I'm going to at least try that consistently for 3 months for sure.
If Let me ask you this, if you're knocking on doors, are you doing some quick like check your phone for the right person type of thing before you walk in the door, or you just walk up to the front desk and see what happens?
Yeah, I'm gonna try both, to be honest, because
Okay.
so I tried, and this is where I'm gonna have to push myself, because I did exactly what you said. I created a list. I'm like, this is the smart way to do this. Have a list of the names, go to these companies, and make sure you have these reference points. Turns out most people in management or above, they
You're
don't want to
remote.
be in the office.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Yep.
so I'm like, all right, well, that's not gonna work, because that pretty much ends the conversation
Yeah.
as soon as I started. Hey, I'm Bryan. I just saw you guys. I think we have some solutions for you. I was wondering if Josh was here. He's like, oh no, he works remote. He lives in Idaho. Damn. All right, that's cool. She's like,
Thanks for
goodbye.
your time anyways. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm trying to spend, after coming in confident like I need Josh. Now I'm trying to backtrack and get you to tell me somebody else. It's like, bro,
Yes.
the balloon is popped.
He just deflated. It's just deflated now.
Yeah, this is done, dude. You
That's
got your
interesting.
answer, and I move on. So yeah. So now I'm gonna try both, but I'm gonna have to take more of an inquisitive position when I start out, and say, as I was looking at your company, I think there's a guy or somebody in this type of position. I don't know if it was a Josh or something I saw on LinkedIn. I don't know if they're here. I'm gonna play around with how to approach that. I'm gonna fill it out every time I go.
Yeah, I think I like that approach. Funny enough, I'm in the same boat. I want to almost completely do away with cold emailing. I think that cold emailing is exactly what you're saying. Like either it gets filtered, like you mentioned on previous episodes, either it gets completely filtered, they never see it, or it just becomes noise. They can't make any sense of what's real versus what's AI generated or just fluff or whatever. Um,
Yeah,
and then doing more so the calling, but even more so than like turning it up a notch, probably like 2x or 3x is straight up just driving around and knocking
yeah,
on a door, walking up to somebody, having a quick little one pager in hand, which if you need one, I can send it your way. Quick little one pager in hand. I staple my business card to it and just say, look, you know, give this to this and this manager, or do you have this particular position here? Who should I talk to? And to your point, being more inquisitive and asking, as opposed to just coming in like authoritatively, this is the person I need to talk to. That makes total sense, because I've done the same exact thing. Same thing. Like it's always awkward too. Like when you cold call somebody and you ask for a name, they're like, nope, not available. And then like, okay, then in that case, before you hang up on me, can I ask you for the second name? Nope, they're also not here. How about the third name? You know what I mean? So like you literally run, I've had this happen. You run
yeah.
down the list of these 4 contacts at this facility. But nonetheless, I think it's people are, I think that like with so much AI and so much fake stuff out there, people are more and more interested in the actual physical presence, talking to a human being, having that physical or human connection, and going about it that way. So that's even like, I even went as far as blocking off my calendar for the next few weeks of like when I'm going to be doing that. Like, don't bother me on this, morning between 8 and 12, because every week for the next few weeks, this is what I'm going to be doing. Printed out a stack of flyers and off I go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I'm right there with you. And I'll see how this goes because I just got approval to join the Chamber of Commerce. Chamber
Okay.
of Commerce. So I'm gonna try that too for a hot area that is far enough away from me where I don't want to just kind of go in fully blind. So I'm like, all right, at least I have somewhat of a landing strip when I get to that area. And so hopefully I can build out somewhat of a group of or a network that can help me as well while I'm out in that area. So I'm gonna try
That's a
that
good way to
too.
go about it, is like the actual physical networking as opposed to just like fake LinkedIn networking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are
So I'm
you
gonna
are you, attempting to essentially get in touch with like business owners, that type of thing?
yeah. So I reached out to what is it? The Greater Irvine Chamber of Commerce is who I reached out to. They actually have a lead group because, I mean, it's their job as a city to help businesses thrive and grow.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a ton of events and things like that. So I check their calendars and say, okay, I could probably make at least one or two events a month. And I'll just make it my ride day in that area where I'm going to go out and kind of scope accounts, whether it's 30 minutes north, south, east, or west of wherever the event is. That kind of gives me an opportunity and a focal point for that day. Plus, at least I talk to some people who may or may not know some people, but at least I get my name out there that day. I'm in some
Yeah,
form or fashion. So I'm
I
gonna
like
try
that.
that. Yeah, got approval for that, and it's not that expensive. So I'm gonna pay for that. Join the Chamber of Commerce, and then um yeah, if there's any other trade shows that may be local that I can get plugged into, I'm gonna try it only because I know we're not doing trade shows as much, but also like it's just that one to many like we're talking about. If I could go and if it's a day or two instead of my ride day, I'm gonna make that my ride days. So I'm gonna try to be consistent with those because we'll see how that goes. But those are some thoughts I have.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I think in general though, like you want to do that type of thing and set that type of thing up within your schedule before the day to day gets away from you. Because at the end of the day,
yeah,
like as you get into the swing of things, as you're approaching the end of the first quarter into the second quarter and so forth, like things start taking off and you're just essentially just trying to keep your head above water in some scenarios. And so it's harder to plan these longer time frame projects and longer time frame efforts that are what is going to be, what brings you the money down the lines.
for
In
sure, bro.
general, I mean, I keep going back to Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blunt. Like you got a 30 or a 90-day cycle, you know what I mean? So you got to make sure that you keep your efforts somewhat consistent. You keep that level of activity consistent because at one point or another, it's going to catch up to you. So
Yeah,
that's me kind of setting the stage. The same thing happened last year too. Like in the beginning of the year, definitely in the last month of Q1 in March was like a super busy month for me because it was three three trade shows, I think, within like 1 month. I was home for 1 week out of the month, and even still, that week I was completely alone because my wife was out of the country, and so I was like, even that week I pulled like 60, 70 hours that week. So
yeah,
like, and then had a really busy 90-day cycle after that, and then it fell off, and I was like, oh okay. But nonetheless, like everything else, I think is just like that longer term effort and really trying to build up and ride the waves. Because now that you and I are both in the same position now for a full year, we understand the waves too that come along with just the general cycle of things, right? So
dude. Yeah,
that if you didn't get it done by end of November, you're likely not going to get it done in
yeah. It's
December.
not coming through. Yeah, man. And so that's kind of where. That's why I'm like, all right, cool. Let's get out here. Let's be physical. Let's be present.
Yep.
And then, the cliche things like the joining a chamber of commerce sounds so cliche, but I'm like, dude, let me try it. Let me see what can happen. You never know. It may be one contact there that pays for this whole thing. So I'm just gonna try to turn over every rock and see what happens this year. But like you said, also for me, I did it because it helps when someone else's a chamber of commerce has events. It's almost them holding you accountable too. Like you got to go to
Mm-hmm.
something. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that putting those faces and names together will make sure that I go out to that area and prospect. So yeah.
Awesome, man. I mean, I think, for easing into the year, I think this is a good place to start, kind of get some people thinking about where they could be making some small adjustments. Finally, pull the band aid off if they've been toying around with an idea of actually doing something and haven't necessarily, dove in head first and just do it. What's the worst that could happen? You know what I mean?
Dude, that's what I say, man. And it's the beginning of the year, so
Yeah, for a clean
dude.
slate. You got
And
nothing
then
to
once
lose.
yeah, man. And like you said, once you really get into the day to day, and that's my biggest fear this year. Like, don't let the day to day control you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You look up at it's 4 p.m., 5 p.m., and all you did was take meetings and troubleshoot something internally at the job. And that's my biggest fear for sure. So I'm trying to be proactive to rage against that machine, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100%. Because you get so caught up and then nothing of new revenue generating tasks actually gets done. And then you're stuck with no new revenue. And
Yeah, dude.
that's what we live and die by.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm for sure trying to change that tide, man. Like, I mean, and last year was good, don't get me wrong. I just want to do something different and be more in control. And so I think I got to trigger some different things to get there.
Awesome. Awesome. I like
Yeah,
this. I think
yeah,
it's a good
yeah.
place to start. We'll build it off from here. But for now, I think the idea is try something new, finally dive in and kind of see where it takes you over the next or few weeks.
Yeah, yeah. And so everyone listening, if you have any ideas or if you know what you're going to do differently, let us know. We'd love to hear it. We'd love to try to implement some things ourselves that if they're interesting or if they work. So don't be shy. Leave a
Don't be
comment.
shy. 100%. All right, yo. Happy 2026. We'll see you in the next one.
Happy 2020 later.